Well, welcome to Coffee with Job. This is Thursday morning, and we're asking. I've got the sun, and I just love the Nespresso machine. But we're going to look at something much more serious. We're going to look at the first speech of Bildad the Shuhite. We're going to ask the question, just simply, does God pervert justice? Job chapter 8. Now, for those of you who are not aware of the story, and I'm sure most of you are, you've been following this. Job has lost everything. His friends are coming to try and console him. They operate in a world where everything is cause and effect, and they think they know. And this is his second friend, Bildad the Shuhite, who replies, by the way, sorry, it's an old dad joke, but he's the smallest man in the Bible, Bildad the Shuhite. The second smallest is Nehemiah, but never mind. Bildad the Shuhite replied, "How long will you say such things? Your words are a blustering wind. Does God pervert justice? Does the Almighty pervert what is right? When your children sinned against him, he gave them over to the penalty of their sin. But if you will seek God earnestly and plead with the Almighty, if you are pure and upright, even now he will rouse himself on your behalf and restore you to your prosperous state. Your beginnings will seem humble, so prosperous will your future be." Well, life's full of ifs and buts. And in chapters 8, 9 and 10, we've got 12 ifs. Now, I'm not going to take 12 talks to look at them all. But let me say, as we're looking at this, you know what I'm finding is that this book becomes less and less about Job and less about me and revealing more and more about God. It's like swimming in your own paddling pool and then discovering you're in the middle of the ocean. Your pool still exists, but it's part of a much, much bigger whole. So this is what Job is going to learn. Verse 6 says, "If you are pure and upright." It's an if of condemnation. Bildad believes that suffering is punishment and that punishment is deserved. It's part of a theology which states that because things ought to be fair and God is sovereign, then everything that happens to you must be fair. He begins by saying, "Your words are blasphemous, a blustering wind, vehement and empty." Now, I think Bildad is threatened by Job's words. Why? Because they threaten his cherished beliefs. He thinks that Job is wrong because Job is starting from the wrong point. Would God pervert justice? We used to sing this, "Ascribe greatness to our God, the rock." It's from Deuteronomy 32, 3 and 4. "Oh, praise the greatness of our God. He is the rock. His works are perfect, and all his ways are just. A God of faithfulness and without injustice. Good and upright is he." That's what is true, isn't it? So, Bildad reasons, if God is just, then you can't complain that God has treated you unfairly. And then look how cruel he is, verse 4. "When your children sinned against him." Remember that Job used to sacrifice in case his children might have sinned. We'll come back to that. It's so cruel though. If your children hadn't sinned, what have I done to deserve this? You deserve this because you're a bad person. You deserve this because something has happened to you. Imagine you hear that you've got cancer. Or today, for example, yesterday, there was an earthquake in Australia. Seriously, in Melbourne. Now, some of us would like to say, well, Dan Andrews, are you getting the message? Melbourne deserves it. Some of us felt it up here in Sydney, and it was in Canberra as well. But that's not how things work. Bildad says to him, you just need to plead with God and God will see, you're still alive, so you still got a chance. And I think what's wrong with all of this is Bildad has no place for sacrifice in his theology. Least of all the sacrifice of Jesus. There's no place for forgiveness. There's no place for grace. And you know what? As our society turns away from Christianity, Doug Murray in his book, The Madness of Crowds, has this lovely little chapter in the middle about how there's no forgiveness in modern society. Well, he's right, there isn't, and there's no forgiveness in the theology of Bildad. Look, God is sovereign, God is just, but people can suffer who not because they have directly done something wrong. They can suffer for many different reasons. And what we need is someone who has suffered on our behalf and who will ultimately free us from all suffering, who will wipe every tear from our eyes. And that, of course, is Jesus. No, God doesn't pervert justice. God is justice. God brings justice. See you tomorrow. God bless.